Everybody, and welcome to Slowpoke Racing, and welcome to the Tyre Shredders Racing Academy, supported by Sarah Grace and Hopper's Motorsport Vlogs. Now, this is an academy. It's really designed to help drivers sort of master their driving craft and racecraft, as I suppose is the correct terminology, and get used to all sorts of conditions, etc, etc, etc. So one week they're concentrating on traction control, another one it's car control, etc. Anyway, we find ourselves here at round 5, and we're in Austria at the Red Bull Ring at Spielberg, and 2.6 miles, 10 turns, and I'd just like to call this one the penalty zone, because this track throws up more penalties, I think, than any other track within the game. But we'll see how these guys get on. And if you're looking at that screen now, you'll see it is a bit wet and a bit grey and a bit murky out there, which is going to make conditions just that little bit trickier. And well, we'll see how they get on, shall we? We're going to run down the grid. We've got 2 20-minute races for you. Hopefully race 2 has dried out, but we shall see. So let's just get the camera angle changed, and then we can have a look and see who is where on the grid. So Racing Sim 6 has got himself on pole position. Mark, he's a new one to me. I've not seen Mark before, so looking forward to seeing what he can do. He's in P2. Corky is in P3. Vane is in 4. There's another name unfamiliar to me. Hoppers is in 5th, and Sai is in 6th. And thank you to Sai for sharing these races eventually. We got there. They are a little bit late, but we've had a few technical issues trying to get these races to you. But we're here now, so we will just we will crack on with it. So a couple of new names on track then, and let's see what they can do. So we'll get this race underway. Grid start, fantastic start from Corky. He was like a rocket off the line there, wasn't he? As they head up towards turn 1 at Niki Lauda curve. Conditions are going to be a little bit tricky, as Racing Sim has just found out, as he slides his way around turn 1. Now the guys have gone for well, some of them have gone for hard tyres, some have gone for intermediate, so I'm not so sure I would have gone with hard tyres in these conditions, but there you go. So Corky taking up the lead as we go around turn 3 at Remus, and it's all getting a little bit slippy slidey out there. Sai has made his way up into P2. Started at the back, didn't he? Corky with half a second already. Mark is in 3rd. He's dropped a place, and Hoppers has sneaked up the inside of Mark there at turn 4. So Hoppers now moves up into 3rd. Hoppers on the intermediate tyres, and it looks like the front 3 are all on intermediate, same as Mark. Racing Sim has gone for the hards, and Vane is in 6th position. He's on the intermediates as well. So Racing Sim, well, it's either madness or a stroke of genius, but he's gone with the racing hards for some reason. Maybe just the mechanics have just put the wrong tyres on, and I'm sure he's having a bit of a word with them over the radio, if that's the case. Or maybe he just feels that he can handle that car on the hard tyres. We shall see. Maybe the track's going to dry out, who knows. But back up to our leader, current leader at the minute, is Sai, as we head into turn 1 again. These laps coming fast and furious. It's not that long a track actually, it's only 2.6 miles with 10 turns on it. But as I say, it does like to throw up a lot of penalties, does the Red Bull Ring. Remus at turn 3, which is where they're just coming to now, that seems to be a favourite for penalties. Oh, as Sai slides his way out, that was absolute fantastic car control. I'm sure the crowd are loving that. He does like to slide his way around the corners, does Sai. He's a bit of a show off, but then again, why not? If you can, then do. And yeah, great for the crowd to watch as Sai slides his drifts his way around these turns. Corky in 2nd. Now I'm not sure if that's the same penalty or another one, but Corky picking up a penalty. Hopper's sitting in 3rd. He's having a decent race so far. No, we're only on lap 2, but seems to be doing well, does Hoppers. It'd be nice to see Hoppers up there on the podium. As you can see, Corky is going to be slamming them brakes on in a minute. Oh, and we're just talking about hoppers, and he goes a little bit deep into turn 7, and he's now dropped down to 4th as Racing Sim has got himself up into 3rd. Vane sitting there in 5th with Mark in 6th, but they're all still pretty close together. Now I do believe that the boost is on for these races, so the guys at the back do have a chance to catch up, and a great side-by-side action there as Mark and Vane have a drag race down towards turn 1. Hopper's there, he's trying to find a way past, isn't he, Corky? But Corky, another half a second. He just, unless that penalty bar is just going to be stuck on his roof, it's now gone up to 1 second, so Corky really taking liberties with the track limit on this race. Everybody else seems to be doing okay at the minute, but Corky, I think he's just pushing too hard. Hopper's back up to 3rd as we go around turn 3 at Remus, then down the hill we go, foot planted firmly on the loud pedal, down towards turn 4 at Slosgold, and Hopper's just got a little bit of room this time, so he should be able to get this turn done and hold his position. Just going on behind then Mark in 4th as we go around turn 5 up towards turn 6 at Raunch. Let's jump on board with Mark, shall we, and get a driver's eye view as Hoppers goes very, very deep into turn 6. Still going down the hill, he's still holding on to 3rd, but Mark is going to start piling the pressure on now as we go around turn 7. Is all over the back of Hoppers, right up the smelly end, trying to look in the boot of his car, go through the penalty zone, heading up towards turn 9 at Rin. Mark trying to look on the inside, Hoppers just trying to hold on to it. That's where you get the penalties. Into turn 10 at Red Bull Mobile, Hopper's just managing to hold on to 3rd, and no penalties picked up, but Vane has picked one up, and so has Corky again. Well, Corky has just got a penalty stuck to the roof of his car, hasn't he? He just cannot get rid of these penalties. Into turn 1 at Nicky Lauda curve, and Mark really putting the pressure on Hoppers. Hoppers doing a fantastic job at the minute of defending against Mark. As we start the climb up towards turn 3, hard on the brake to make this tight right-hander. Oh, as the back end of that car of Hoppers decides to put in a little bit of a complaint, but he held on to it, as did Mark as well. Vane there sitting there, he's got a penalty with Corky just behind him. So let's just see what's going on at the top. It's Racing Sim, he's having a battle with Si, but Racing Sim is out in front at the minute. These two started to open up a decent gap back to Hoppers in 3rd, so Racing Sim currently holding P1 with Si putting the pressure on him as they go around turn 7 at Worth Curve for the 4th time. Now we're just about 6.5 minutes into this first 20-minute race. Racing Sim, he's going to be looking at trying to get away, isn't he, from Si. Rain still coming down, although it's not really that heavy, so maybe racing hards was the right choice, and you can still pick up a bit of grip. So Racing Sim has got a 1:38.5, which is the current fastest lap. And he, like I say, he's on the hard tyres, so yeah, maybe it was a stroke of genius on his part. Let's just hope that the rain doesn't come down any harder, because if it does, then he is going to struggle. Si is sitting there just behind him. He's on the intermediate, the choice of everybody else tyre wise, but Si, well, he's just hanging on to the back of Racing Sim, isn't he? He's just trying to stay in touch. Mark has made his way up to 3rd. Oh, and he went too deep at turn 3. He's not the first, won't be the last, as Hoppers goes through and gets himself back onto a podium position in 3rd. Mark has to drop back down to 4th, but he's on the attack again. We've got Corky and Vane behind. Corky hasn't got a penalty yet. Vane has, though. There is time, though, for Corky to pick another one up, I'm sure, as Mark continues to put the pressure on Hoppers. Corky there, he's in there, isn't he? So is Vane trying to find a way through. Oh, it got a bit touchy-feely as we go around turn 6. These four having a proper battle. Now then, the bar starting to fill up above Vane's car, so he's going to be serving his penalty as Mark goes through to, well, he was at 4th, he's now down in 5th. Hoppers regains his 3rd position. Vane serves the penalty, and Mark drops down to 6th. So these guys swapping and changing positions every turn. Corky going a little bit wide there again. I thought maybe he might just about got away with that one, and he has, as he goes side by side with Hoppers. Hoppers taking the defensive line on the inside as they come up towards turn 1. Another couple of penalties picked up there in the background by Mark and Vane as they all go around turn 1 and then start the climb up the hill. They go through turn 2, which is more of a bend in the road than a turn. But these four having a fantastic battle, with Vane and Mark going half a second penalties. Vane having a look up the inside. Mark fancies his chances as well. Corky just holding on to that position of in P4. So Vane and Mark still in 5th and 6th. Vane trying to get on the inside of Corky as they head down towards turn 4. But Corky slams the door shut on Vane. He's just got to stay in front of him. He knows that Vane's going to have to serve that penalty. The rain's still coming down. It doesn't seem to be getting any worse. The track is not getting any wetter, it doesn't look like. If you're wondering how I know, if you look down at the bottom left, just to the right of the clock, there's a little bar there, and that is the indicator that tells you how wet the track is. And at the minute, we're not even at a third. So if it stays like that, Racing Sim has absolutely made the right choice. If that starts to increase, then it's telling you that the track's getting wetter, and that's where Racing Sim will have his problems. But these four properly battling it out. Hopper's doing everything he can to stay in 3rd. He's doing a good job actually, but he's now towing everybody up towards turn 1. Hopper's taking a bit of a defensive line into turn 1. He doesn't want to go too deep. Corky tries to get a better exit and does, so he now moves up into P3, although it is a side-by-side battle up towards turn 3. Foot planted firmly on the loud pedal as they go through turn 2. Mark trying to follow Corky through, gets himself in the middle in between Corky and Hoppers. Always a bit of a squeeze through there, isn't it? As Corky and Mark both go off track, Hoppers says thank you very much and moves back up into P3. Now are they picking up penalties at the back for that, or is the game going to allow them to carry on as there was contact? Mark dropped to 6. In the meantime, let's just have a look and see what's happening up at the front. Racing Sim has managed to open up a little bit of a gap back to Sai. Sai has picked up a half a second penalty and he's just about to serve that. So yeah, Racing Sim, stroke of genius it turns out, picking the hard tyres. So well done to him. He's out in front and the gap getting bigger now, having served that penalty. So Sai sitting in 2nd. It's got to be, I would say, a good 3 or 4 seconds maybe gap between Racing Sim and Sai. So at the minute, it does look like Racing Sim has got this sewn up. Let's just hope the rating doesn't come down any heavier. Sai looking comfortable for a podium finish as well. Hoppers on the other hand, he's currently sitting on the bottom step of the podium, but he's really having to fight for it. He's just got to keep sensible and just go about his business, let everybody else make the mistakes, and I think that's exactly what Hoppers is doing. Corky with the familiar penalty bar above his car, a half a second. He's sitting in 4th. Then we've got Mark in 5th with Vane in 6th. Vane just drifting onto the grass as we go up towards turn 3, then trying to keep it nice and tight. We don't want to be picking any more penalties up. Bit of rear end action there from and Corky, what's happened to Corky there? Let's go on board with this well, the drone cam as I like to call it. So as Corky, we come up towards turn 3, hard on the brakes, down through the gears, makes the turn. Oh, yeah, that's a mistake that a lot of people make. Oh, that is so unlucky. He'd managed to save it, but then the back end just came round on him. You get the power down too early. If the wheels aren't straight, then the back end will start to come round on you. Corky, I thought he did a great job of catching it, but as soon as he drifted onto the grass, the back end just came round on him. So that is so unlucky for Corky. Great car control at the beginning, he just couldn't stop it going onto the grass. So I sort of feel your pain there, Corky, and well, the job is a lot harder for him now, as we're into our, well, we're just over 13 minutes, and Corky with the penalty. So let's just go up and see what's happening mid-pack. The Mark in fourth, he's challenging Hoppers as we're going into turn 9. Hoppers just holding his line, and Mark coming under attack from Vane. So through turn 10, all trying to keep it within the boundaries. It looks like Vane didn't do that. He's picked up half a second. So what Vane has got to do now, he's got to try and get in front of Mark and Hoppers and get at least a second away. So that's a big ask if he's to stay in touch with these. But when he serves that half second, if it stays as it is, then Hoppers and Mark will be able to get away now. Mark has managed to get in front of Hoppers. Finally, Hoppers drops to fourth with Mark in third. So let's jump on board with Hoppers, shall we, as we get into turn 3. Trying to keep control of that rear end of these Subarus. Down the hill we go towards turn 4 at Sloshgold. It's Hopper's turn to try and attack Mark. Mark has got some defending to do. Now then, Hopper's having a bit of a cheeky look at the inside. Mark seems to go very deep there. Oh, a bit of a lag situation going on. You can see Mark's car jumping around, very off-putting. A bit of a wobble going on as well, which makes it even more difficult to try and get by, as Hoppers has a bit of a bumper kiss with him, and that has forced Hoppers very wide. Oh, keep hold of it, keep hold of it. He's managed to catch it. Oh, and he's picked up a half a second. That is cruel. Now you can just see Vane behind, who was on the attack, but Vane's brakes are going to be slammed on, and now it is Corky's turn to attack Hoppers. Let's have a look. Where is he? Oh, Corky is all over Hoppers now as we go into the final turn and onto the straight. Corky in the slipstream, so Corky will be making his move, I'm sure. Hoppers takes that defensive line on the inside. Well, we've lost. Where is he? Where's Corky gone? Let's come out and then we can find him, can't we? There he is. He is tucked right underneath behind Hoppers. Now it is Hopper's turn to pick up the penalty with Vane alongside him as well. So Corky hasn't got a penalty yet, so he's going to be looking at moving up a couple of spots actually. He's just got to keep his nose clean, hasn't he, through these final few turns. Doesn't matter if he's sitting in 6th at the minute, he will go up into P4 if he can stay in this position, because Hoppers and Vane in front of him both have penalties, and Corky fully aware of that. Now if he can get by cleanly before they get to the penalty zone, then he can probably open up a bit of a gap between these guys, but he doesn't have to push it. You've just got to sit there. We've only got another few turns to go, and the guys will serve a penalty, so let them do that. You can go by Corky and then you can get on after Mark, who's currently sitting in 3rd. He's not that far away. Side by side is Hoppers and Vane as they come around turn 7 into turn 8, the sweeping right-hander, and then into the penalty zone, so the pair of them will slam the brakes on at the same time. Corky says thank you very much and goes flying through it, and he's on after Mark now as Hoppers and Vane continue their door bashing session through turns 9 and 10 onto the start finish straight. Hoppers just ahead of Vane and looking at making a move on Corky now. Vane having to go right on the inside. Corky goes defensive or tries, but Vane is already there on the inside. Maybe a little bit too tight for Vane, but no, he gets the job done as Corky goes very, very deep into turn 1, and that is probably going to be a penalty. Let's just see. I hope he got away with it. as the rain continues to come down. And I think he did, so Corky got away with that one, thankfully. Unfortunately goes a bit deep into turn 3 though. That's allowed Hoppers through. Oh, he's picked the penalty up there at turn 3, so Hoppers go through to 4th, with Vane coming up the inside as they go down towards Schlossgold at turn 4. Vane looking for a gap that just isn't there on the inside as Corky gets himself onto the kitty litter and drops down to 6. Let's just see what's happening up at the top. We've really been ignoring Racing Sim, haven't we? But he is absolutely flying, so the Racing Hard tyres was definitely the right choice for him. And he has got a massive gap back to Sai, currently sitting in 2nd as Racing Sim goes around turn 1. Sai is just coming around turn 10. So yeah, you can see there, Sai, you can't even see Racing Sim now. So Racing Sim has got this race pretty much sewn up as we get to 18 and a half minutes of this 20-minute race. So 1.5 minutes left. So I will probably, this may well be his last lap actually. I think Racing Sim might actually get another one in. But Sai in 2nd, I'm sure he'll be pleased with that anyway. This is where the fight is for the 3rd podium spot then. Mark currently sitting on it in 3rd. He has got a car length or 2 between himself and Hoppers, currently sitting in 4th. But Hoppers coming under attack from Vane and Corky as they come up towards turn 3, trying to get that car slowed down to make this turn without picking up a penalty. And it looks like everybody got there quite cleanly, got through there this time. Mark though, he's going to be looking to try and maintain that gap, isn't he? He doesn't want to come under any pressure through these turns, especially in these conditions. Oh, who's that that's gone off? Is it? It's Corky that's gone off. So unlucky for him. And I'm just having a look. None of the guys are actually using traction control, but it does look like the stability management is activated. So maybe this race is a traction control free zone, and if that's the case, then the guys are doing a fantastic job. Racing Sim, well, the race is his, isn't it? There we go. So it is going to be Sai that finishes this race first in 2nd position, and well done to him. Fantastic racing from Sai. Mark currently sitting in 3rd, and as he goes around turn 10, it looks like he's going to get this job done. So Mark is going to finish 3rd. Fantastic racing for him. Hoppers finishes 4th. Vane is 5th, with Corky across the line in 6th. And well, Racing Sim is just doing a lap of honour now, isn't he? Fantastic racing throughout the grid. What a great battle it was mid pack as well. Racing Sim missed all the fun, but I'm sure he won't mind. But yeah, he can just take his time now. Corky with the fastest lap though, 1:35.1, so wow, a good couple of seconds ahead of Racing Sim's fastest lap. Fastest lap for Racing Sim was 1:37.6, and Corky put in a 1:35.1, so that's a great lap from Corky. As we just follow Racing Sim into turn 9 at Rint for the final time, down the hill, through turn 10, onto the start finish and across the line, and well deserved winner in Racing Sim. Congratulations to him. Well, that was race 1 of 2. Stick around and we'll bring you race 2 very shortly.